let's go over everything you need to know and do before making your first Dynasty in college football 26, man. The game is out. The game is out. It's fun. It's enjoyable. We've been live over on Twitch all day since release, and we're still alive, man. Come over to the Twitch, check it out, having a blast. But let's get into Dynasty, man. When you're making this Dynasty, it's not going to be exactly the same as last year. It's a lot more settings, and you kind of want to be a little bit more intentional when you're making your Dynasty. So, you know, obviously you want to go with whether you want to do offline, online, that's your decision. You want to go with active roster, as that's going to be your latest roster. It'll download here, take a little second. Now, once you get in here, the Dynasty setup, the Dynasty settings is the part you really want to focus on, man. Just a lot more settings. I suggest putting this thing on Heisman. That's going to be my suggestion. You know, we got a lot of players tell me they're All-American type guy. They enjoy All-American. Personally, I enjoy Heisman. And I think at some point, All-American will become too easy for you. I think you're better off starting at Heisman and then adjusting down if needed. I think that's going to be your best bet. Coach firing, up to you. I would suggest leaving it on for a little bit more realism. If you want to turn it off, I ain't mad at you. If you want to put it on CPU only, I'm also not mad at you. When it comes to this Coach XP setting, bro, your coach could go to level 100. Will you ever get there? No. If it's on normal, you'll never get there. If you want to put this on fast or fastest, I also would not be mad at you because it's going to take a very long time to get this coach to level 100, man. We had C4 do a rebuild or pretty much coach builds where he won the national championship 15 years in a row and his coach only got to level 78, and that's with the setting on the fastest. So that shows you it's going to take a while to level your coach up. So if you did want to increase this, I wouldn't be mad at you. Me personally, I'm going to use it on normal. Some people actually going to lower it because they feel like their coach levels up slower. But coach builds can be super overpowered in this game. It's a lot of good coach abilities compared to last year. We'll get into that into another video where we'll just cover all of the best coach abilities. But in this one, we're just going to cover the setting, injury, you know, all that stuff is up to you. When it comes to manu progression, this is important. This is important, man. This could lead to you absolutely cheesing a dynasty. If you're doing all online, turn this baby off. And be honest, turn this thing off if you're doing any type of online dynasty manual progression. You can see it all the way at the bottom. We'll get to it. But you at least want to have some type of penalty, whether you keep it at 25 or you put this baby at 50 or 75. We didn't do enough testing yet to really determine what the sweet spot is. But if you put it at 0, it gets very overpowered and very cheesy. And you could kind of like stack points. It's going to get cheesy. I don't know if people really want to do that. Wear and tear, I would suggest leaving it on default. You know, I played a couple games in my dynasty, played through a whole season actually of Colorado, and actually did not experience much injuries, did not experience wear and tear at all. Like, I'm thinking back, I literally did not see wear and tear on any of my players. And I was playing the moment, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I did not see wear and tear play any impact in the first Dynasty season I played on stream today. So just keep that in mind. We'll learn the perfect sliders at some point, but we really just don't know that. Now, this is probably the part I'm most disappointed about. Transfer portal, the sliders. So for my Colorado rebuild, we put this baby on 30. My thought process, transfer only rebuild with Colorado. I wanted to bring in as many transfers as possible. I wanted the portal to be as jumping as possible. So I put the max transfers on 30, and I also put the CPU transfer chance on 100. And the portal was mid. I ain't gonna lie, the portal was super mid. It was no better. I put my user setting on 65 just to increase it a little bit. I ain't want to keep it at 50 when I put the CPU on 100. The portal was mid. 3 stars, we literally had 1 3-star transfer we could even talk to. It's like, what are we doing here? So this slider, I don't want to say it don't matter, but in the only rebuild I've done personally, this seems to not be that useful, even though the portal and other rebuilds I've seen online, when they kept this setting the same at default, it seemed like they got better portal results, man. They had more 5 stars in the portal. We only had 3 5 stars in the portal with this setting on max. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And one of the 5 stars came from my team, Jordan Seaton. He transferred out. Don't mean to spoil it. Go check out the series. We're going to post it live on this channel also. We're going to post the whole first season on YouTube, so go check that out. And then get into the auto recruiting. You don't want this on. Last year it wasn't good. Maybe this year it'll be usable, but probably won't be good. Auto progression. This is what we talked about earlier. It's up to you, man. It's up to you. First of all, the auto progression is not 100%. Like, we had auto progressing on that first season, and some players just didn't auto progress. I held triangle on them, they still didn't auto progress, and I had to go in and manually upgrade them. So it's a little bit janky, but I would suggest to keep auto progression keep it on, just so players actually auto progress. And then also, one last thing before the pre-order bonus, I would suggest turning this off for your Dynasty. If you want to keep it on, not mad at you, but you probably want to turn it off. Now, when you're deciding what team to pick, man, this is going to be the question everyone have. I'm going to drop a whole video dedicating on how to choose what team. I already dropped the tier list of the top. I pretty much ranked every single program, whether it was a good rebuild, bad rebuild, too easy, whatever. I did a whole list of that. But it's honestly the most important thing, man, because you got to pick a dynasty that's going to fit you, whether that's, you want something tough, challenging, something that's going to take a long time, or you want something quick, something you could do in a couple seasons, get on to the next one. It's all up to your personal preference. Me, I like to have rebuilds that I have some teeth in the game. So last year I did Temple because I went to school there. It just means more. I actually want the team to be good because I'm a fan of the program. I went to school there. So you got to figure that out for you. Now, one thing, overalls is in a weird spot. Overalls is super low this year. You have half a star schools. Akron, I believe, is the lowest overalls at 61. But also, even if you do pick a good team, it's a good chance a lot of your top players will transfer out for one reason or another. So I wouldn't suggest just picking a team for a certain player because you might be upset when they enter the portal. For example, like I said, Jordan Seaton entered the portal in our rebuild. We have Julian Lewis, the 4-5-star quarterback at Colorado. It's a solid chance he enters the portal by year 2, year 3 in our rebuild. Also, that's just the way it's looking with his deal breakers. So please don't just hop into a rebuild to play with a certain player unless he's a senior, whatever. It's just a chance that they'll enter the portal. The portal is crazy, even though it's in a weird spot. So you want to pay attention to overalls, also prestige. Recruiting is not that difficult in this game, in my experience and everything I've seen, man. It's not that much different. It's and also not super difficult, but it is a method. Tomorrow we'll drop the best 4- and 5-star recruiting method. So if y'all want to see that, let me know. But we'll be sure to drop that tomorrow. You want to go through, look at this, man. I suggest somewhere in between the 1 to 3-star range is probably the best way to go for these rebuilds. We're doing Colorado, and with Colorado, I probably could sign the #1 recruiting class if we want to. I don't want to say it's easy, but with 4, 3.5, 3-star teams, you damn near could sign a top 5 recruiting class every single year. That's just how good recruiting can be in this game, and especially with Colorado. The coach Bill Dion he actually has some elite recruiter, so keep that in mind. And when you get into this 4 or 5-star range, I don't know why Washington's still a 4-star. I'm really confused about that. But when you get into this range, maybe it's your favorite team, or you got some other motivation, you got some idea. I wouldn't really touch these 4 or 5-star rebuilds. I said unless it's a niche reason for it. Florida State makes sense. They went 2-10 last year, or 1-11, however bad they did. That kind of makes sense if you want to do that rebuild. But some of these other teams probably gonna be a little bit too easy. Washington, like I said, I don't know why they're up here. So let's say you do find out what team you want to pick. In this situation, we're going to go with Temple, man. And, I know a thing or two about Temple. I'm from Philadelphia. I know what type of program I want to build. More of a gritty mindset, maybe a more defensive focused mindset, maybe strength, less speed, more hit power on the defense side of the ball. I kind of know what I want to do. Now, when you get to this screen, motivator, recruiter, tactician, last year, I think it was obvious, recruiter was the best way to go, 9 times out of 10. I think a lot of people this year don't like recruiter because a lot of the best attributes of recruiter has been moved to whether CEO or another category. So recruiter pretty much got nerfed as the short of it. Is it still useful? To me, 100%, man. That ability to scout players faster, I love it. I love the ability to scout players faster. So I wouldn't just eliminate recruiter, but it got to make sense. If I'm going with Temple University, picking a recruiter coach build for Temple University might not make sense. A motivator, okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking, man. A guy that's going to motivate Also help the players progress faster. Temple is probably never going to be a recruiting powerhouse, but what we can be is a school that bring in maybe 3 stars, maybe the occasional 4-star, and develop them to be very good players. Now, tactician, that's the more win-now coach build, man. So I wouldn't really suggest going tactician to start off for most of your rebuilds. Like I said, it's more of a win now. If you're going with Florida, if you're going with LSU, maybe even Alabama, Florida State for your rebuild, if you go tactician, okay, I get that. That's more of a win now. That's a roster in a better spot. You're boosting their overalls. But for the long haul, I'm going to go motivator for most of my coach builds to start off. And then I'll probably dive into recruiter and tactician at some point. But a lot of the coach abilities are actually usable this year compared to the previous seasons. So that's actually very good. So one thing you'll quickly notice this year is speed. Speed is more valuable than ever, man. Recruiting and also for your current roster. We're Temple. Our fastest player is going to be at 91 speed. And that might be the case for a while. When you're recruiting these 3 stars, it's tough to find speed. It is. The fastest guy I seen in the game was 96 speed, and that was a 5-star corner, Jim. Fastest player. Other than that, I seen 195 speed. I seen 194 speed. Point is, it's not the same as last year. We just got 99 speed hit left, right from these receivers and corners, 4 stars, 5 stars, even an occasional 3-star. So when you're recruiting, when you're looking at your roster, if you got a fast guy, you might want to prioritize him. You might want to start him. You might want to make sure he don't transfer out. You also want to go through your roster. And more than just, looking at, what position I need, well, you want to look at stuff like this. He's a senior, so he wouldn't really count. But then you look at your second quarterback, championship contender, deal breaker. Well, guess what? We're Temple. That's not getting up to a B-. He's leaving. Pro potential, freshman, he's leaving. We have no chance. You quickly starting to look at your roster, and you see we're only going to have 1 quarterback on our roster next year, Cole, because everyone else is going to transfer or graduate. So you probably want to go through your roster and identify that for at least the positions of need, or the most important positions, maybe receiver, quarterback, the edge rusher, tackle, O-line, definitely. Because in this situation, we literally will have only 1 quarterback on the roster. But if you go over to the recruiter screen, it might not say that you need that many quarterbacks. In reality, you need all the quarterbacks you could get. In this situation, to say you need 1 quarterback. You bring in 1 quarterback, you're going to be screwed. You're going to be in trouble next year, man. So just keep that in mind. And last thing I'll cover is just give you an idea of what you want to look for your coach build, man. It's different from last year. You can't just go right into recruiter or tactician if you started off as a motivator. You got to go into motivator for a little bit, get your coach level up to 10. Then you could go into these other categories. Now, I'm not going to give y'all the best coach build, the best this. It's not super realistic most of the times, man. When you're upgrading your coach, you're kind of doing what you need, When you upgrading this coach, okay, well, my O-line is not progressing, so I'm going to go ahead and get tier 3 for O-line. Or, well, maybe all my quarterbacks are transferring out, so the one that's returning, I need to make sure he's good. So I'm going to go ahead and get, tier 3 all-season training boost for the quarterback. So having just a coach build the base of is maybe not always the best, but my tips is to look at this and identify what matters for you. What matters for me is mind reader, tier 4 ability of strategists. We have this for our Colorado rebuild over on Twitch. Go check it out. And we have it for defensive backs, as our coach is Deion Sanders. And it's actually useful, man. It's almost hitting at around a 40% clip. So about 40% of the defensive backs I recruit, I get to see their development trait. And, I'm not going to say that's exactly what it is. It's 40%. But from my experience this first season, about 40%. To me, that's very good, man. Like, one guy, I got to see he was elite development. Okay, instantly, I'm going after him. So this ability is something I want to prioritize. Win 4 bowl games. Unfortunately, that takes at least 4 years unless you're making the playoffs. But that's something I definitely know I want to go after for the positions, maybe like O-line, quarterback. I definitely want to get that. So I know I want to go strategist. So just identify what you want to do, and don't be so hard on this is the exact coach build I want. You got to be able to adapt of what your team need. So if you're not recruiting well, guess what? You might need to hop in a recruiter. If you somehow become a good team, you might have to hop in a tactician to upgrade your actual players so they just play better. So just be open to adapting. And I also just want to at least give y'all some tips for recruiting. Recruiting is similar to last year. Is it one for one? No, not at all, but similar. Similar where you advance a couple weeks, you'll have a couple 4 or 5 stars being under recruited. You can always go after them, but you just gotta identify what will work for you. Temple right here, 1.5 star program. I'm not gonna go after any 5 stars, unless we have the pipeline boost or unless they're being under recruited. I'm probably not gonna go after any 5 stars. I might go after this guy right here who is from PA. That would make sense. But as a 1.5 star school, we actually have 4 stars interested. Realistic? Probably not. But we'll take it. I'll go after them for sure, man. But other than that, I'm gonna end up waiting. Until I see who's under recruited, and then those are the 4 stars I will end up going after. So like I said, I'll just advance a week, see, and then I'll go after them. 3 stars could still be very good, man. 3 stars last year, elite. You could win the national championship last year with nothing but 3 stars easily. They developed well last year, especially if you could find them at gyms. And 3 stars are free. They was free last year. They're also free this year. So that really did not change. The only thing that changed is maybe the recruiting method. And like I said, we'll kind of cover that in a video that will drop tomorrow at some point. But just some quick tips, man. If y'all have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down below, man. If y'all enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate y'all, boys. We on to the next one.